if you want to support the show, any of the shows, either this or whichever show, I'm not on right now because it's just a blanket ad for all of them, and the website, you can go to bewareofspoilers.com. In the description for any of the episodes of Beware of Spoilers, there is the option to donate. If you don't want to donate that way, you can donate directly through the website. We do have that, mwpnews.com. And if you don't want to support that way, then going to mwpnews.com will help out because we have ads there. We don't want to keep it, where there's a lot of ads. There's a few ads. But the point is we want to make it so that way, we can sustain this for the long term. If people donate, we're never going to paywall anything, I don't think, as of right now. But if people, start donating, we'll start doing cooler and cooler stuff. Like donations are how we get to cover stuff like Tribeca and other, film festivals. And, we may be able to bring on more people to help out. So if you want to help out the show and you want more content from us, by all means, even just going and giving us a 5-star rating on Spotify helps out a lot. But that's it. That's the only ad we'll have on the podcast ever. But here's whatever podcast you're going to be listening to. Good morning and welcome to, afternoon, and welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam, and can I just vent about something real quick before we get into Agatha? As you know, if you listen to this show, I feel like it's not something that's exactly a hidden thing about the show. We support the show by releasing books. And the books are $2.99 on Kindle. Some of them have softcover editions. Occasionally we'll do a hardcover edition. But regardless, these books come out on Kindle devices and you pick up for $2.99. Every once in a while, what I'll do to kind of get people, give them a little taste of what we have being offered, is we'll offer them for free. And the other thing that does is it increases notoriety. It used to be if you offered a book for free and you promoted it, you were able to get into the top 10 on the free for whatever category you were. So, at one point, Swan Song was a top 10 book. In the End was a top 10 book. Sizzle Reel, I think, was top 5 at one point in the free category. I think AI has totally fucked this. I think AI has totally and completely fucked Kindle Direct because so many people built books with AI and used generative AI to fill books and then put them out using the cover creator that I think a lot of people who ordinarily would have used, who would have gone and bought a book, now associate anything with the cover creator template as AI generated because you can't even move free ones anymore. We haven't sold any, unless it's someone being referred directly from the website, we're not being found. And part of it is the search engine optimization is fucked because there's so many of them flooded the market at once. And then on top of that too, it's God, we can't get anyone to find this. No one will find, really? We can't, we've had Swan Song for free for a few days, and no one has found this yet? Because I know that, it's rough trying to get someone to do it for free. You can't add it multiple times. I know that, the people who listen who haven't bought it have added it for free to their libraries already because it's available. It's completely free. You can go on. If you go to the website, it is the top link on the website. Wow, that guy just blew a red light by 100 miles. It is the top link. I have it sticky with the schedule for we're doing Swan Song, we're doing Duet, and we're doing The Muses. 5 over 15 days. So I think we're on day 3 now at this point of Swan Song, and we haven't moved any. And I know that part of it is I haven't pushed it on the show, so people who are listening don't know. But like we used to be able to get a lot more, and with the same amount of my pushing. Like that's the thing, is that it's like it's a marked downturn and I think it's just, I think that AI was responsible for that. I'm gonna be honest. I think that like there were so many articles too. It's like how this person self-published books and made X amount of money in a few months just by self-publishing books using AI, and it's like, well, fuck. It's like, if that's the case, it's like, and you don't have to hire anyone. You can just use the cover creator. And it's like, look, I get it. The cover creator is not the most engaging tool. Like, it's not something that's going to really grab attention. It's the cover creator is fundamentally It's fundamentally a tool for people who can't afford a cover artist, which would be like me. And, I can't expect Josie to drop everything and do cover art for me every time I have an idea. Like, maybe I'll start working with, like, Canva and try to make more unique covers, I guess. But, like, I like the cover creator because it let me, like, because you could have different colors, I just branded it differently depending on what series it was, and it made it easier for me to track. And, people who were, buying it could keep them sorted easier. Like, but it is what it is. So, if you haven't already and you're listening to this, go on mwpnews.com. That first link, hey, free books. If you want to help us out and help push us up further in the rankings, just add it to your library. All you got to do, it costs you nothing. Just add it to your library. Hit add to library, and then it will add to your library. You don't have to read it. I don't give a shit. Add it to your library. It's free. It costs you nothing. And if you read it and you like it, then you can pick up some of the other ones. But yeah, like we used to be able to get a lot more. Like I had, like my second book, I had a fuck ton of pre-orders on. Like I had a fuck ton of pre-orders on The Depths of Winter. Like, and that was like 10 years ago. Like there were so many pre-orders on that book. And like we have, part 2 of Succession Planning coming out in November, and we have no pre-orders. Like, and again, I think this comes down to, Kindle Direct being kind of not great with AI. And it's like, it's a self-reporting thing to be like, do you use AI when you made this? And then it's like, what stops someone who did from saying no? There's no repercussion, and unless they're going to go in and manually audit everything with a human, because I'm fairly certain it's also just a computerized check. I should have got gas 2 days ago when it wasn't $2.77 a gallon. Now it was $2.65. But it's like it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know. Just a little gripe on my part, and it's no one who listens' fault. It's not, because I know you guys always show out and show up whenever we do this, which is part of why it's so hard to move more copies of free books, because it's like anyone who has it already, anyone who listens already has it, so it's unlikely that they're going to be able to add it a second. You can't add it a second time. But if you haven't added it yet, it'd be very helpful. So Agatha All Along, episode 3. This is something that was bothering me most of the day yesterday while I was sitting there in class. I was like, son of a bitch, why is it still at 0? But yeah, so Agatha All Along, the third episode. And I think this episode's relatively engaging. We see the Coven find their way to this house along the road. It's like an upper middle class, if not affluently wealthy house. And they go into this, they go into this, in there, and they find this wine that they have to drink, and the wine is poisoned. So they have to find a cure to the wine, so they need to use the potions witch, who is Shashir Zadran, sounds right. She was on, she's a really funny actress. She was in Home Economics on ABC for a few seasons, and she was really funny in that. So, like, seeing her here is great. And this is kind of let's establish minimal backstory for a lot of these characters. Let's establish some backstory for, all the witches in the coven except for Mrs. Hart and except for I'm just gonna call him Tommy. I'm not fucking around with this bullshit anymore. I'm not calling him Teen. I'm not doing that bullshit. It's dumb. What the fuck are we doing? He's Tommy. Like, this is clearly somehow Tommy. I don't know how it's Tommy, but clearly this is Tommy. And I think I said this last week. The idea that you have this character who is the mystery box at the center of things, I'm not a huge fan of this. This is one of the things that I really did not like about the sequel trilogy of Star Wars, this idea that, like, the mystery box is Rey. Who is Rey? What is Rey's heritage? You don't watch Star Wars and things. There was a whole YouTube video about this at the time that Peter showed me. I forgot who it was that did it, but it's like, when you watch Star Wars, you're not sitting there wondering what is Luke's lineage. Luke's lineage is not important. Luke is a kid who knows, he has to do the right thing, and in this case, do the right thing is join the rebellion against the Empire and try to unseat the Emperor and Darth Vader. Like, that is fundamentally what this kid believes, and he's doing that independent of him being a Jedi. He wants to join the rebellion even before... Oh, classy. Ram it deep. Huh. That's someone's license plate that gets drove by me. He knows independently of that, of knowing his lineage as a Jedi, he wants to be a hero, and to an extent Rey has that too. But a good amount of The Force Awakens spends a lot of time putting Rey in this box, where it's like, Rey is not the object of the story, or rather, Rey is not an active participant in the story as much as she is the object of the story. She is there to be a point of contention. Who is this girl? What does this girl want? And all of that. To the point where all the characters around her are asking that question, not the audience. As The Force Awakens goes around, I don't care what Rey wants. That is not the important thing from The Force Awakens. What the important thing about Rey is who are her parents? And we've reduced this character to that. And that's kind of the same place we are with Tommy in this. And again, I'm not calling him Teen. That's fucking ridiculous. And I feel like that's one of those things where it's like, some exec should have looked at this and been... And I know why they didn't. And the why they didn't is very clearly articulated in the episode. When I forgot her name, the Potions Witch, is talking to Tommy and goes, oh, well, Agatha sold her baby for the Darkhold, or for the Book of the Damned, and he's like, no, she wouldn't do that. It's like, no, you're probably right. And it's like, no one knows what happened to the kid. Is he an agent of Mephisto now? Like, and there's a lot of red herrings in this episode, and there are a lot of what are obviously red herrings. I'm not gonna say like they're not. Like, these are obviously red herrings of what's going on. It's like, oh, someone put a sigil on the kid. Oh, who could have done that? And I was like, oh, I wouldn't have done that. The kid, and I think the big thing to keep in mind with this is, if this kid was Wanda's son, or not Wanda's son, was Agatha's son that was traded for the Darkhold, then why would what's the word I'm looking for here? Why would why would he know all of that to explain that backstory to Agatha? Only Agatha can't hear it because of the sigil. And then be shocked when she says, like, oh, well, he killed her, she sold her son to, for the Book of the Damned. And no, she wouldn't do that. There's no way she'd do that. Like, why would you, why that, it's such a weird thing. It's like, they're very clearly trying to telegraph that, like, this could be, who could this kid be? But again, I said it last week, the most interesting way to do this is, the most interesting way to tell this story would have been for, it to just be, hi, I'm Tommy, I'm Wanda's son, I don't know how I'm here, I want to go down the Witch's Road to resurrect my mother. That's what I want to do. And it's like, okay, there we go. We have a compelling reason for this kid to go down the Witch's Road. This dovetails in with what Agatha wants, because Agatha wants the power of the Scarlet Witch, and resurrecting Wanda, and her being in that state could give the opening for Agatha to be able to steal the power the way she wants to. This is all really interesting story fodder. And again, I said it last week, if this is information that they knew and then kept from the rest of the coven, there is something to drive apart the coven. The distrust. Because obviously no one trusts Agatha, and probably for good reason. So if that's the case, then why, it's just one of those things that, I'm watching this and I'm like, this is just baffling to me. Why are we acting like this kid is a mystery? It's so clearly Tommy. It's so clearly Tommy that this kid is. And it's why is that, why is that something? And on top of that, too, it's I don't know. I feel like there's a better way to handle this. And it's just, it's just weird. That said, I think the real kind of emotional, hook of the episode is kind of where Sharon fits into all this, Mrs. Hart, Deborah Jo Rupp. Where she fits into all this is really kind of tragic. Because this poor woman is not a witch. And, they grabbed her and it was like, hey, you're going to help us now. Come with us. And you're going to be in the coven. Let's go. That whole thing is, okay, great, so she's with them now. And then, from the minute they get on the Witch's Road, she clearly does not want to be there. She clearly wants nothing to do with this. She wants to go home. She wants to go home to her husband. She does not want to be on this road. She just wants to be done with it. And for her to be the one who ends up dying after all of that is just kind of tragic. And that's the thing, too, is that it's no one's calling her by her real name. And it's just Mrs. Hart, Mrs. Hart, Mrs. Hart, Mrs. Hart. So it's she gets held hostage by Wanda for an unknown amount of time, because I don't think it's ever clear how long Westview was actually under Wanda's control. And then it's okay, so then years pass, and now, oh, look, and now the crazy lady that Wanda fucked with is now kind of, it has basically kidnapped me and brought me on this terrifying road. Oh no, and then I'm poisoned. But before I die, not only was I poisoned and I died, but I'm forced to relive my worst memories. This whole thing is it's so tragic for this poor woman. I felt so bad for her the whole time. I'm this woman did not ask for this. This woman deserved better. It's just an odd, all around an odd choice that we have, that she's kind of, there. And I don't think we necessarily needed her to die in this episode. I would have rather seen her come into her own, and as a character, instead of just be oh, and now she's dead. We never even properly treat her like a character. She's still just kind of a plot device, if that. I wouldn't even call her a plot device. She's kind of visual, human set dressing, and then she's dead. And it's oh, that sucks. Why? I don't know. I feel like there was a better way to handle that, too. But I enjoyed the episode, and I do enjoy, clearly Catherine Hahn is having a ball playing Agatha. Clearly, Joe Locke is having fun playing Tommy. And I think the two of them, when they have that dynamic against each other, that's really fun to watch. And I think that's kind of what makes the show worth watching. And on a weekly basis, if I get a little bit of that, we're good. And let's see how this kind of moves on. But we'll wrap up there for today. Our next episode will be tonight. We'll be talking about The Wild Robot. Tomorrow morning, we'll be talking about The Penguin, episode 2 of The Penguin. And then tomorrow evening, we'll be talking about Metropolis, the new Francis Ford Coppola movie that I've basically chalked up, as I'm preparing to see it tomorrow. This is either going to be the greatest movie I've seen in a long time or the worst. Either way, we're going to have something to talk about here, and that'll be Friday night. Monday of next week, we have Joker. Is that Monday? Yes, that's Monday. We have Joker. Folie à deux, because, Joker Folie à deux, because that's what we needed, a $200 million sequel to Joker. But we'll wrap up there for today. Until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.